Hello and welcome to the Business Channel. In this programme we'll be looking at the apparent revival of manufacturing in the UK and its effect on the economy. In the past decade, manufacturing has shrunk from 22% of Britain's GDP to 11%. Economists have put this down to the emergence of cheaper centres of production such as China and Eastern Europe. But in the last 2 years, there has been a resurgence of manufacturing in the UK. This is partly because of a weaker pound, but also the result of niche producers who can take advantage of the latest technologies to produce lower carbon solutions, and also they offer higher manufacturing standards.
The UK has gone through a transition over the last 10 or 15 years. All our high volume manufacturing has left the country. First of all, it went out to the emerging European countries, Poland, the Czechoslovakian countries, and then, as we all know, into India and China, Brazil. So the bit that was left really was the difficult bits, the hard bits to manufacturing, and Britain has always, or the United Kingdom, has always maintained a very good high level of engineering excellence.
Manufacturing is on the up because of a combination of both the competitive pound and I think the ability of manufacturing leaders to take advantage of the recovery. The competitive pound has undoubtedly helped since the latter part of 2008. But British manufacturing leaders have demonstrated the resilience. They've kept labour force and skills during that recession, and through the process of innovation they've demonstrated that they can take advantage of these recovering and emerging export markets.
At the moment, I don't think there is a revival in UK manufacturing going on. However, at this point, I think there are a number of things that the companies out there can do to improve their operations for when the revival does come. We see our experience is in the storage and distribution sector, and we see that there are a number of companies with legacy systems which they could replace their current warehouse system with a new, more modern and more optimised system and gain competitive advantage that way.
For a long time, UK manufacturing has been seen as kind of the poor cousin for services industries and so on, but suddenly we're being cited as helping drive the UK out of the recession and all those kind of things, which is great. We don't have some of the benefits of other geographies around the world in terms of low cost base and so on. So what we need to do is to do things better than them, whether it be faster, higher quality, better use of technology.
Automation can neutralise much of the labour cost benefits that the Chinese and the Indians have. If we're both innovative over our product design and also about the way we manufacture products in advanced automated plants, then we can compete on the global stage.
There's still a lot of nervousness within UK manufacturers about investing for the long term. We take a very short-term view in our manufacturing industry. They want return on investments in 12 or 18 months, which in many cases are absolutely achievable. People have a perception that robot automation is expensive. That's absolutely not the case. You could be leasing or buying robots and running them for less than the minimum wage today.
Well, I think over the last 5 years we've seen the food industry embracing robotics in particular, and I think that will continue over the next period, and it will be driven down more and more into the SME companies. Sectors such as aerospace, which you perceive to be very high tech, have not made big use of automation, but I think that's set to change over the next period. And we'll see more in general manufacturing and in logistics. And beyond that, and beyond industry, I think we'll see more and more service robots start to take a hold in the UK. And I'd like the UK engineers to be a leading light in that.
Many industry leaders are claiming that one of the biggest issues facing the manufacturing sector is the lack of skilled people. And widespread reports of the death of manufacturing in Britain have perhaps deterred people from pursuing careers in this sector, or they can get more money elsewhere.
What we're seeing at the moment with regards to skills shortage is I don't actually see enough engineering personnel coming through, and this is due to lack of apprenticeships. The UK manufacturing industry was built on apprenticeships. Some of these individuals went on to become into the building services side of things. What we're actually finding too, companies are not embracing the likes of the individuals coming out of the forces who've got engineering skills. They want all singing, all dancing individuals to come in to actually deliver their services. I believe that what needs to happen within the industry is that we need to invest time into these individuals and give them the opportunity, as we are going to find ourselves in a lot of problems in the UK.
Skills gap is obviously a very major issue within the industry. I think what you've got to bear in mind is basically with the loss of manufacturing within the UK industry, this obviously created an area. And then on top of that, basically then we had the drive for energy, driving down the cost and optimising the buildings. This then effectively caused a great big gap on the type of people that we need and the type of people to be educated and trained.
For the last 15 or 20 years, we've been talking ourselves out of manufacturing. It's only in the last couple of years where we've woken up to the fact that we need manufacturing for a strong future. And in fact, that's driven a much lesser uptake of science and technology apprentices, technicians, graduates, which is self-fulfilling.
But not everyone is in agreement. Maybe there are enough graduates coming out of institutions like this, but maybe there are other reasons why they're not going into the manufacturing sector.
In terms of the manufacturing sector, if they are seeing or perceiving that there's a skills shortage, we certainly are not producing any less graduates with the skills that they would be demanding. What we possibly are seeing now is a greater number of graduates going into the banking sector and accounting, and therefore that may be reducing the number of graduates perhaps who have the skills that the industrialists might require.
To be honest, most engineering graduates don't actually go into manufacturing. A lot of them go into banking, investment bankers. They become, because it's assumed that it's a lot more, it pays you a lot better, and you go up the ladder quite quickly.
They know that engineering pays okay, but in a sense they want to get more than what engineering offers, and that's because they believe that although engineering is a good salary, banking can offer a little bit more, and they have the the standard skills they need to go into banking, because bankers look for all the maths that we do in our degree.
I think there's perhaps a greater number of graduates, and therefore that's put a greater strain on the manufacturing sector offering the opportunities for working in industry. And from that point of view, one can see that not all graduates will be properly equipped as they might have been with a smaller graduate population.
One of the initiatives what FRL Recruitment have actually come up with to enable the industry sector to thrive again is to actually offer individuals to them on work placements where they don't actually pay for the individual and that they try before they buy. Now, that's one of the initiatives we've tried, and it seems to actually be working. We have a responsibility to our candidates as well as our clients to ensure that both parties are looked after and that we actually get people into paid employment.
Tailored recruitment is highly important, especially at senior level, because no one company operates the same as another, so we need to gain an understanding of exactly what each client needs to fulfil the role. So then we can go and search for the right candidates for them. But we tailor pretty much every single role that comes in. We gain an understanding of clients' requirements, whether it be a receptionist or facilities assistant or to director level, and that's how we operate.
FRL Recruitment have a number of mediums which we use, entailing job boards. We have a very robust database system which has over 45,000 candidates across the UK. Part of our selection process is the face-to-face interviews, online technical tests which have been developed by some of the leading technical directors in the industry for the service providers. Again, too, for the managerial personnel, we run a number of competency tests which covers health and safety, the technical aspects, the financial aspects, better known as profits and loss or CapEx. The project side, we cover the CDM side of things. So it's pretty much what we do the whole circle in terms of the recruitment process, and then what we do, we'd identify a short list of candidates, suitable candidates to our customers.
At ComServe we have a training academy. It consists of in-house courses that have been developed to bring awareness and knowledge to our mobile and static technicians who operate and provide the service to our customers. The courses cover everything from understanding building services, mechanical and electrical systems, through to business-focused maintenance, energy management and condition monitoring and surveys. The purpose of the Academy, that we've recognised there is a shortage of these type of awareness training courses within the industry itself. And our own organisation recognises that fact. We need to bring skills awareness, enhancing their existing disciplines, whether it be electrical, plumbing, whether it be heating, ventilation and air conditioning, into a level of understanding of why equipment is used, why it is operated in a way to reduce energy consumption and make the buildings, optimise building operation and make them work more efficiently.
Really important that we have very experienced staff. When our customers are paying for consultants to be on site, they don't only expect them to know the product inside out, but they also want them to know what other people are doing in the industry and how they're doing it. So they're looking for experience of people having done it before. Especially in UK manufacturing, that tends to be signs of grey hair very often, you know. Also, if somebody phones the support desk, they want to talk to somebody that can solve their problem. They don't want to speak to somebody that just says, I'll write it down and I'll get back to you. So again, in those sort of terms, retaining staff with vast amounts of knowledge is absolutely critical. The flip side of that, we're obviously in a technology business, and it's important we're at the leading edge of technology. So it's really critical that we keep up to date with technology, that we keep up to date with training of our technical consultants and so on.
We are producing graduates of the same level of academic ability as they had 20, 30 years ago. So from that point of view, the skill sets that they have are just as good as they used to be. Perhaps they're not as specific as the manufacturing industry want.
We've got to have the talent coming through, and we need people knocking at our door looking for jobs. We want people who are committed to it and believe in it passionately.
I did manage to get a 4 years industrial placement, and it wasn't at all easy. It was extremely difficult, and I think that's mainly because industrial placements aren't advertised. Students have to go after these industrial placements and try and acquire these placements for long-term opportunities. It was difficult for me to get the industrial placement because of my studies, with coursework and with exams coming up, but the attention that I put into that is definitely worth it in the long run.
Manufacturing is strong because it's had to be. We want to move away from this square mile mentality and start understanding that, you know, in the old type of economics, you know, to make any money you had to add value, you had to do something, you had to go and buy your raw materials and then turn it into pots and pans and sell it to somebody and make a bit more money. Well, that's where we are at the moment. The government needs to have a firm plan for manufacturing.
I think that government has a very important role in encouraging manufacturing by being a good and effective partner. That doesn't mean trying to run the businesses, it means creating the right long-term environment. So a simpler tax system that reduces the corporation tax rate, so money can be reinvested back into industry and into capital. Making sure that in skills terms we're actually improving and increasing the number of apprenticeships so that industry gets the skilled workforce it needs. It means investing in infrastructure so that actually the UK is an efficient place in which to do business. That's why we're retaining the spending levels for infrastructure that we've inherited from the last government, and it's why we're investing in high-speed rail to make sure that we get that improvement in public transport. So I think the crucial point from government's role is to be an effective partner, always wanting to look at how we can improve the conditions of manufacturing here in the UK, because I'm always mindful that we are competing with countries abroad. So we've always got to make sure the UK is a good place in which to do business.
The role of engineers is, I believe, absolutely critical. I think it's probably not much of an exaggeration to say that almost every solution that we face is being addressed and can be found by engineers. Whether it's, I think as you're aware, climate change, whether it's the ageing population, engineers are at the back of that. Mobility products for our ageing population, much of the waste reduction, carbon reduction that we're required to meet in terms of our environmental regulation and legislation. All of that has been driven by engineers through research and development, and of course from that, applied product development. And I'm pleased to say that we are very much to the fore here in the UK.
A wide range of sectors contribute to the success of manufacturing. From building to finance and facilities management, we need to ensure that Britain has the infrastructure there to support a recovery in manufacturing.
Facilities management is the delivery of services within any sort of building environment. It's basically the operational side of what makes the building run.
Facilities management play a very important role within UK manufacturing. There is obviously a lot of expertise, individuals and companies that actually offer solutions around their requirements. This could be from training, this could be to technology and research and development. Them areas are very, very important for the UK manufacturing in order for them to provide their product efficiently.
FM plays a huge role within manufacturing. Facilities management is all about making sure that buildings are working correctly and time spent within buildings are optimised, and the FM environment ensures that everything within the building is working the right way. Within manufacturing, lean manufacturing comes into play a lot, and also Six Sigma, which also is relevant within the FM market within many companies.
I have seen a revival in the manufacturing, especially within the UK. If you drive down the M1, you'll see all the new industrial plant that's been developed. 9 times out of 10, that's developed with a green supply. So that will obviously reduce emissions, reduce downtime, be a more business-focused approach into contracts, which is a different area of businesses where it's not just another contract anymore. This has enhanced the manufacturing. Obviously, it's helped in respect of some loan schemes within the business and the government.
Manufacturing is capital intensive. A lot of equipment needs to be bought up front and returns are spread over a long period. Finance, therefore, needs to play its part in helping the manufacturing sector. And as the global recovery kicks in and financial markets become more liquid, manufacturers in Britain should be finding it easier to access the capital that they need.
Centric in terms of what we do, manufacturers tend to be very rich in terms of their assets that they have on the balance sheet. Given that we provide asset-based finance, manufacturers lend themselves very well to what we do. We funded a number of manufacturers in the last 6 to 12 months, very often moving away from a bank facility. These are often manufacturers, but when the same bank for a long period of time enjoyed a very good relationship until very recently, and then suddenly, because of a change in situation, change of policy, they've effectively been told to make other arrangements.
I mean, I know talking to businesses that they do find that accessing finance is a problem. We should remember that 2/3 of the smallest businesses get the money they seek in terms of loans or in terms of overdrafts, and in fact nearly 85% of medium-sized firms also get the money that they're actually seeking. So it is a problem, but it's not quite one that affects every business. But what are we doing about it? Well, first of all, we've asked the banks, and they've now brought forward a lending code and an appeals process, so that if a business has a problem, they've got a means by challenging the bank if they think they've been dealt with unfairly. Secondly, we've also made sure that we are helping in terms of the enterprise finance guarantee, so government is underwriting loans made by the banks, and we think this will unlock about 2 billion in loans over the next 4 years. Then on the equity side, just as important if you're growing your business, we're investing 200 million in what we call the enterprise capital funds, and these are targeted at the high-growing, capital-intensive businesses, sometimes in industry, other times, for example, particularly in the low-carbon field. So it's that rounded approach, I think, as well as new initiatives on things like supply chain finance, that we think will actually free up the market and give businesses much more choice.
If you look over the last 2 or 3 years, we have financed a tremendous amount of businesses away from the high street banks, and banks are sort of coming up with all sorts of rules and changing sort of rules which drive people potty. And then, as one of my clients said to me recently, if we treated our customers how we're treated by banks, we wouldn't have a business. And they say it with a passion because it's true. Looking forward to the economy in terms of what Centric can do, I think there are very early signs that transactions are coming back to the market. What we mean by transactions, management buyouts, management buy-ins, is coming from a very low base, but there is a definite increase in transaction size. And that lends itself especially to what we do, where we go out and rather than think about products, we think about what does the business need first and what solution can we provide.
Growth in this sector will primarily be driven by small businesses, and so company directors say that the government needs to support this. That would mean reducing the number of bureaucratic hurdles that are involved in the setting up and in the growing of manufacturing firms.
The UK government play a vital role in reviving UK manufacturing. They are the only people that can offer tax revenue initiatives and also grant schemes for building owner-operators and management of portfolios to carry out investment schemes and projects to install renewable technologies within their buildings, low carbon efficient equipment, and those actually can be purchased from a UK manufacturing base, therefore has an impact on reviving UK manufacturing.
I think probably the thing that drives small businesses absolutely potty is just the ever-changing rules, regulations coming from the UK government, coming from Europe. And I guess what they would like to see would be a complete review and ideally a waiver for smaller businesses, perhaps businesses employing, say, less than 10 people. You know, for them and to me as well, it just seems crazy to apply the same rules and regulations to large corporations, perhaps employing several 100,000 people, to businesses employing 2, 3, 4, 5 people.
We would ask for governments to provide infrastructure rather than getting directly involved. In particular, we're looking at the internet. We would like to see high-speed internet access for use at our offices, for our clients and for our staff. We provide support, and for that we use the internet. We need to do that everywhere that we go, whether we're on one client site supporting another client, whether we're in the office, whether our staff are at home. We like to have our staff working at home where possible. They can work without distraction and they can avoid the travel to work, which is also good for the green agenda.
Well, I'd like to see some policy decisions at the highest level which support a long-term base in manufacturing, to give everyone the confidence that manufacturing is here to stay in the UK. I'd like to see more support to entice and motivate teenagers through into science and technology and into manufacturing. It would also be good to see a strong tax environment in the UK which supports investment in manufacturing on the long term. And if anything, in the next 2 years, if we could freeze any policy that's not going to aid the productive improvement of our manufacturing base, would be a big plus.
For a lot of our customers, they have to make big investments in their businesses, and it's about the certainty to do that. So I think there are a number of significant major infrastructure projects that the government's working on, things like high-speed rail links, things like nuclear power. And I think we just need some certainty in all of those types of things so that businesses can choose whether they be just UK manufacturers choosing to invest or whether they be global manufacturers choosing to invest in the UK. So I think that certainty would allow people to make those investments with confidence. I think the other thing that a lot of our customers would like to see is a government procurement process that was, if not favourable towards UK customers, certainly neutral towards UK companies. I think the other piece that we'd like to see, and most of our customers would like to see, is incentives to invest in equipment, in training, in technology. So again, I think one of the things that UK government could do is look at incentivising people to make investments in those, so that maybe it's through tax breaks or tax breaks for those investments, so we could take some of those world-class manufacturers we've got and make them as efficient as some of the other places in Europe and around the world. I think the UK ranks about 7th in terms of factory automation in Europe, so I think it's absolutely critical that we get our UK manufacturers investing in equipment to bring them up to the same levels of efficiency that other people are. And the best way the government could do to encourage that is possibly tax incentives for training and for equipment and for technology.
Over the last couple of decades, manufacturing has not had a particularly attractive or good image, and I think it would be wrong of us not to recognise that. But I believe that is changing, and I believe it's changing quite strongly as a result, in part from that recession. Manufacturing is a great wealth generator. About 53% of our exports come from manufacturing, about 70% of our research and development in business comes from manufacturing, and of course it's a double positive whammy when we export what we've got here. And I think there is a clear link, whether or not we wish to face up to it or not. There is a clear link that where research and development is undertaken, in the main, that tends to be where the manufacturing or production takes place.
It is a global market that we work in. Aircraft, medical, automotive, they are all built everywhere around the world, and we compete closely with markets as far away as Brazil and China. So for us to maintain any sort of competitive edge, we have to be able to be innovative, and we have to find the best ways in which we can manufacture those components.
So, while the resurgence of British manufacturing has been helped by a weaker pound, it's also down to the fact that the sector has recognised the value of technology in helping it compete on a global stage. British manufacturers are in an excellent position to compete in a sector which many had left for dead. Well, that's all we've got time for now, but if you'd like to find out more about any of the organisations that we featured, then log on to thebusinesschannel.tv or download via iTunes by searching for The Business Channel TV. Bye-bye for now.